You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
X-Men. Get it!
Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Atom. This is your weekly X-Men podcast where we rank every story from A to Z.
I'm Adam.
And I, as you know, am Zach.
Zach, if you were an alien, what would your alien name be?
Ooh, Pale Flower.
Pale Flower. Okay. All right, cool. Pale Flower. That's good.
Pale Flower. Adam, what would your alien name be?
I feel like it has to be something like Gaziblet.
Gaziblet, that's terrible. Horrible idea. Go back to the drawing board on that one.
Got a couple of apostrophes in there, you know. Anyway. We're talking about alien tie-in comics this week, folks. These are
hold on. That's IP. We're not tying into the IP, the intellectual property of Alien, the Xenomorphs.
No. There are no xenomorphs in this particular episode. Sorry.
Now, I'm going to be honest. X-Men have fought xenomorphs in like one panel ever. And it was, besides all the fake xenomorphs.
You mean the Brood?
Besides the Brood.
When did they fight a xenomorph?
Adam, did you not read Avengers vs. Aliens?
Oh, no, I've been reading that. That's great.
Because Apocalypse on Araco.
Oh, right.
Does fight xenomorphs.
Yeah, that was dope.
And it's the coolest thing ever.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
AVA needs to actually come out so I can enjoy it. Because
you know what?
Those two
you know what? I will enjoy it when the series is complete and I get to sit down and be like, Jonathan Hickman and Assad Ribic, you did it again.
Yeah,
son of a gun.
Yeah,
son of a gun. You made a comic that should have been bad. Good.
Yeah, so no xenomorphs this episode, but lots of different alien species, that's for sure. Some of which I can't even name.
Can you not?
I mean, the cabbage people from Empyre, I don't know what they are.
The Katati.
Sure.
When I was editor-in-chief at Comics XF, previously Xavier Files, we did a big thing with Empyre, so I had to know a lot about the Katati. We were so excited. The problem with Empyre is, and we'll get into this, is just how many books didn't come out because of Empyre that were canceled thanks to COVID. Mm-hmm. Do you know what great books didn't come out?
Well, I guess we never got the Imperial Guard Hickman book.
That wasn't because of Empyre, though. Or that wasn't tied to Empyre. That was just they want Hickman to do that. And it seems like we're getting Hickman playing in those areas.
Does seem that way.
There's a Agents of Wakanda tie-in that I wasn't going to read. There was a Spider-Man tie-in that I wasn't going to read. There was a Squadron Supreme tie-in that, again, I wasn't going to read. But there was going to be a 3-issue miniseries about Storm Ranger. Do you know about Storm Ranger?
Who the heck is Storm Ranger?
So you do remember how at one point Spider-Man's old pants caused some problems?
The symbiote?
Yes. Some call him Venom.
Yes.
Storm Ranger is Kamala Khan's old pants.
Oh, okay.
Bad arc. I do not care for that run of Ms. Marvel. But yes, her old pants were going to get a whole thing. There was going to be an Ed Brisson Ghost Rider tie-in, and that Ed Brisson Ghost Rider book was actually friggin' killer. It was him and Aaron Kuder. It ruled, and we should cover their Hearts of Darkness tie-in at some point. But the biggest thing we lost was Empyre Thor, which was a Rom V Pascal Ferry book.
Ooh, that would have been nice.
It would have been friggin' dope as all get out, and it didn't happen.
Well, we're not
talking about all of that.
Talking about Empyre this week. We are talking about a couple of different Marvel events that involve aliens, but why are we doing this, Zach?
Oh, yes. That's because of our lovely, fantastic, and frankly, I'm going to say it, beautiful beautiful, our beautiful supporters on patreon.com/Battle of the Atom. Supporters like Owen O'Connell. If you want to be beautiful like Owen, and Owen, I want you to know, I personally think you're beautiful. You can go over to patreon.com/Battle of the Atom, reach deep down into your hearts and pocketbooks, toss a couple of coins into our coffers. You could toss 500 coins into our coffers if they're pennies, and then we would do... it would fill the coffer, not in terms of like wealth, but in terms of volume.
Sure.
Pennies would be the best option, even if they aren't the largest coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100 pennies is bigger, or 50 pennies is bigger than a $50. That's true. Anyway, at the $5 a month level, we'll do an entire episode based around one of your ideas, one of your concepts. We'll take the comic that you recommend, and then we'll put our sick little twist on it. our little bit of English, our curveball. We'll throw that in there. Just like how Owen said, hey, can you do those X-Men Empyre tie-ins? And we said, well, we'll just do a whole episode about times the X-Men have tied into space-based events.
Yeah. So we're going to start here with 2 issues from X-Men Volume 5. This is numbers 10 and 11, which both involve the Kotati, which are basically an evil vegetable race that wants to defeat Earth and kill everybody on it. This first issue, I should also note, written by Jonathan Hickman and penciled and inked by Lineal Francis Yu. What's this first issue about, Zach?
Well, Adam, have you read Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four?
I have, yes.
So you're aware that at one point, after the War of Kings, which Jonathan Hickman didn't write, but after the War of Kings between Vulcan and Black Bolt, they were both sent into the Cancerverse through the rift that was in the thing.
Yes.
Well, in Hickman's Fantastic Four, we see how Black Bolt exited the Cancerverse, and now we see how Vulcan exited the Cancerverse.
Yeah, a little bit of
some weird aliens.
Yeah, there's some real weird aliens with like extra eyes and extra mouths that what do they put a bomb inside of him or something? I don't know. They kind of like dissect him and put him back together, and then Vulcan's not okay.
Well, by Vulcan standards, Vulcan is not okay. That's what's important.
Yeah. So Vulcan lives on the moon with the rest of the Summers family. He has not been invited on the beach vacation that Cyclops has taken the rest of the family, including thruple member Wolverine on.
Yeah, don't tell me. I'm sorry. I am not trying to be a negative Nancy about things, but just don't tell me things that I'm seeing with my own eyes aren't there. Like,
yeah,
respect my intelligence.
Yes.
That's all. Don't do that to me, anybody. Regardless, Scott's in a Speedo. Vulcan's not invited because, well, he did war crimes in Shi'ar space. So they're
he's not allowed to go to the Shi'ar space beach vacation.
He's not allowed. So Vulcan is drinking at home by himself, which is what he's been doing for a while, except for he's drinking with Petra and Sway from Deadly Genesis. Is
it confirmed that these are hallucinations? Or are they resurrected? I was never quite clear on this.
So initially, Hickman's intent was that they weren't resurrected, that they were just figments of his imagination, which I think is interesting, but not that interesting. Eventually, someone talks to them, and it's like, well, no, so if other people are seeing them, then they exist. Because if you do read this book, they only show up when Vulcan, they only appear when Vulcan's interacting with them and no one else.
Right. And they're basically just like, no, we can't leave the house. We're just going to sit here and drink.
Yeah, they are his subconscious, which is interesting. It's not that interesting. Anyway, Al Ewing does, in a data page, make it so that they were actually...
I remember that. I just didn't know if
them hard light, real things using his Vulcan powers. Anyway, it doesn't matter all that much. But Vulcan is feeling a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
It's not guilty. It is when you have someone who has done horrible things. based on a lot of rage and anger about his environment and where he was at and how he lived. And now he is in a environment that is loving and accepting of him just as a unique individual. He has some semblance of a family now, and he has these deep memories of these aliens being like, oh, you're evil. There's evil deep inside of you, and we are going to, we'll make sure that the evil is hidden under this thin veneer of you, but you are rotten to your core.
Pretty much.
It's an interesting concept
Mhm.
of him, not in thought bubbles, but just like through his actions, wrestling with what do you do if you're a villain, but you have nothing to fight for. Like you have no reason to be angry and mad or any of this anymore. So what do you become? And I think that is such a more interesting concept, and this is why I love the Krakoa stuff, because it allows you to do more interesting things than just punch this one guy again.
Yes. Luckily for Vulcan, in this particular issue, the Kotati have decided to set up their moon base literally in the backyard of the Summers house. So Vulcan takes a walk and he's like, let's just you know what? I shouldn't evil laugh because he does this like without emotion. He basically just wanders in and confronts them and is like, yep, listen, by the way, like, get off my lawn, and blows the whole thing up. It's great.
Vulcan already got to me when he burnt Wolverine's steak as a prank.
Yeah.
In the first issue of this run. It was the best Vulcan moment that had ever existed up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
Is then one-upped by everything that happens in this issue. Where Vulcan, a character that I actively dislike, not passively, not I don't care about, a character I actively disliked, is engaging and entertaining to me. And being able to do that with a character like Vulcan, who I hate, that speaks to what this setting allowed you to do and what writing with ambition allows you to do. Because even when Ewing takes Vulcan back to a antagonistic villainous space, he's doing it in so much more of an interesting way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, way more nuance. So if issue 10 is a showcase for Vulcan, issue 11 is a really great showcase for Magneto. So again, Hickman's writing, Leinil Francis Hugh is penciling and inking, and the Kotati have, begun their strike on Krakoa, particularly because Vulcan attacked their moon base. But
Vulcan's like, hey, Krakoa's going to screw with you. Like, don't do this. Don't invade Earth.
Yeah.
That's where my stuff is. I like this planet now.
I love this issue because it is simultaneously a really great, like, economical version of introducing us to all the war captains and what they're doing in these battles. But it's also Exodus around the campfire, teaching the children of the glory of Magneto. And at the same time, Magneto is like doing Looney Tunes stuff, like dropping big, heavy objects on aliens. And it's fantastic.
People underestimate. And I've been these people before. But people underestimate Jonathan Hickman's ability to write a joke. Jonathan Hickman can be an incredibly funny writer when he wants to. And this is the multi-page satellite scene is him and you firing on all freaking cylinders. Just joke. They keep dropping satellites on this one cocky Kotati guy. And it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Magneto chooses what clothes he wears in this issue.
Yes.
Because first, he stands around nude. And it fits him.
Mm-hmm.
It fits him that Magneto's meditating in the nude when one of the cuckoos comes to get him. And he thinks it's one of the cuckoos, but she says it's not. But then another cuckoo, the cuckoos are trading names to screw with Magneto, and that's really funny as like a subtle, like, third layer joke that's going on in this.
Yeah, I think Magic is actually the one that comes and gets him. And she's not phased by him being naked at all. Like Krakoa is just
Right.
like, whatever. We don't wear clothes sometimes.
Hey, sometimes some of the things that were happening in Krakoa to make you feel not at ease was to make you question why aren't you feeling at ease about this? And hey, if this is a different culture, they're going to do things differently, and you are going to feel weird about it because you are not a member of that culture. You were supposed to feel like an outsider. That was, look, I don't want to be a big like Krakoa apologist because I don't think anyone needs that. It stands on its own. But like that was the freaking point, y'all. It was storytelling. It was storytelling. The other thing that I think is really good storytelling, you bring it up, is Exodus talking to these kids. Because throughout this, Exodus, like not just this issue, but other issues, Exodus has been like telling stories around a campfire. And it's lionizing Magneto as this kind of like folk hero to mutants.
Mhm.
And I remember very specifically having conversations with our friends, probably with you. I don't remember. I talked to a lot of people about, it's a little uncomfortable because it feels like he's indoctrinating these kids because we know Exodus is like a religious zealot.
Mhm.
But also, Exodus is just telling kids a folk story to tell them a moral or like give them a protector. And that is every folk story. That's how we teach kids. Like that's what we do with kids. We indoctrinate them based on our culture's beliefs and our group's morals.
Mhm.
It's just weird when we know this guy's doing it. It's like, should we trust this guy?
Yeah.
Because people are complicated, the world's complicated, and these comics are complicated, and then sometimes they're not complicated. Sometimes Magneto's dropping satellites on aliens.
Yeah, it's a great action set piece. It's really good world building, and it was a delight to read these too. So
So good.
we should take a stab at ranking these guys on our big old list.
Here's the thing about our big old list, Adam. It's only getting bigger.
Holy cow.
We are at 993 X-Men stories that we've ranked from best to worst. We've been looking at every X-Men story, with the best being the House of X Powers of 10, the, let's say, 300th best being Uncanny X-Men 232 to 234 Earthfall, the 600th best being Wolverine Global Jeopardy, the 900th best being Wolverine and Viper's Wedding from Wolverine 125 to 128,
Fun.
the worst X-Men story of all time being 2099 World of Tomorrow. Now, here's my thing. This is pretty good. I think Yu's art works for the most part, but sometimes is the weaker element of this.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think you can be a little stiff. Like I think that pin-up of them on the beach, for example.
Yeah.
You is a better sequential artist than he is a pinup artist, which is weird because he gets so much cover work.
Well,
You
all
know?
of his covers look the same.
All of his covers look the same. Well,
Though these two covers,
all of his-
the
all
first
of his-
cover kind of looks the same. The second cover, though, the Magneto cover does look different. I'll give it that one.
all of his issue number 1 covers look the same.
Yes. Yes. So much
And-
so that they made a joke about it in Uncanny X-Men Volume 5.
One of the funniest things I've ever seen.
That was pretty great.
Like it was funny when I just thought it was a multiple man joke. It was funnier when I looked at all of the other Liddell French's covers that were the exact same. I was like, they've got it. They've got it. Here's the thing. Empyre X-Men is the other Empyre tie-in we have on this board.
Uh-huh.
That's at 129.
Love it. Love it. A lot of fun. That's a good one. This is better than that.
I think Empyre X-Men's highs are higher than this one's highs. Its lows are lower. So how do you balance that? That's the thing. Right? We're in the right spot. I don't think, what's at 100 right now? 100 is the first appearance of Legion in the New Mutants. I don't think we break 100 on
No.
this.
No, I don't think so. But we're in the top like 125. You know?
Let's see. Well, Hellions 1 through 4 is at 121.
I like this better. Do you like this
Okay.
better or worse than Hickman's New Mutants Volume 4?
Hickman's New Mutants is better than this, partly because Rod Reese's art in that is so killer.
Okay. Okay. Is this better
so
than
I
the
would put-
Terra Verde arc of X-Force? Percy and Cassara.
That's so tricky because that arc. That is one of the multiple comics we have on here where Ben Percy wants to do Annihilation.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I might like that.
Ben Percy has also written a book where Ben Percy wants to do Annihilation. Ben Percy likes Annihilation the same way that you and I do.
Yeah, yeah. I think I would put this above the Terra Verde arc, and I think I would put it above X-Men Black Emma Frost, but below Uncanny 184 and 185 where Storm gets depowered.
I would put X-Men Black Emma Frost above it. I think that works as a better unit of comics. It also has that Chris Picciolo art.
Okay. I'm not I
It-
mean, we're picking
That's a-
nits here. So this would
We
be our
these are all comics that I legitimately really like. It is. I want to say, folks, if you want to know what's like unambiguously like, I'd say, oh yeah, that comic rules. It's pretty much like the top 150.
Mhm.
Those are comics that if you hand it to me, I would say, oh yeah, this comic rules. And then it gets into, how do you say, qualified this rules. This rules for a certain segment of rules. And then it quickly gets into this is bad because there's too many X-Men comics.
You know what's wild is that aside from Ten of Swords, those are the only 2 issues of Hickman's X-Men Volume 5 we've ranked.
No, that's not true.
It's true.
We've done the Crucible.
Oh,
We've done the Crucible.
oh, that's right.
Crucible's at number 12. We've done the Crucible.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And we've done the Economic Summit.
All right. Where is that one?
We've done we have to have done Davos, haven't we?
No, we did. We definitely did. And it's got to be pretty high, but that means we didn't mark what volume it was, which is making me mad.
We had to have done Davos. I know we did Davos.
We did. I'm looking. Arg. All right. I'm going to go through this later because we got to keep doing the show.
We got to find Davos. Did we not do Davos?
I could have sworn we did. We definitely did cover that. This is great content for our listeners as well.
Oh, it is. It is at 83. It's at 83. It's called Global
83?
Economics.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Why?
I have to go back and listen to that.
Why the heck?
Because here's
are
the thing.
we not putting
It feels-
volume numbers on these.
Because Adam, we are been doing this show for like 7 years and we're kind of bad at it. I love it. But we have areas of improvement is how I like to put it.
What does have a volume number on it is our next story, which is Wolverine and the X-Men Volume 1, Annual Number 1, which ties into the Infinity crossover, another Jonathan Hickman thing.
Adam, had you read Infinity by Hickman?
Yes, I read all of the Avengers stuff all the way through and what was that? New Avengers with the Illuminatis.
New Avengers with the Illuminati.
The Infinity crossover.
Have you read every single Infinity tie-in?
No, but I definitely had read this one, and I have fond memories of this comic because I, it's one of those things where like we hear people talk fondly about this book, but like Wolverine and the X-Men is really uneven in retrospect. But
Deeply uneven.
I do
Even
think
the good parts.
that when people look back at like the feel good moments of Wolverine and the X-Men, it's stuff like this one. So this is Jason Aaron and Nick Bradshaw with about 4 different inkers, including Bradshaw himself, Walden Wong, Carl Kessel, and Victor Olazaba. This is a fun little story starring Kid Gladiator.
So for folks who don't know about the Infinity event, you don't need to know anything about it. I'm not going to explain the builders to you. I would love an excuse to do an X-Men or an X-Men episode of this podcast dedicated to Jonathan Hickman's Avengers, but we can't get there. We can't do it. It
is a lot of fun. I would read it.
A lot of fun. We can't justify it for an episode as much as it kills me because listen, you think I don't have a statue of Ex Nihilo within arm's reach of me? It's right there.
Yeah.
I think about Jonathan Hickman's Infinity and his overall Avengers stuff frequently. All you have to know for this is space battle. Big space battle.
Yes.
Kid Gladiator has not been at the Jean Grey School for Higher Learning or whatever it is because he got pulled back during AVX and he is struggling with his Super Gladiator School or his Imperial Guard Training Academy.
Yeah, he's at Imperial Guard School and he hates it. It's pretty funny.
The underlying reason why he hates it is that he doesn't fit in. He is the only one of the Strontiums? Is that right? Is that right? Did I get that off the dome? I just want to know.
I don't know, but like each of the different kinds of
I did
there's
Strontian. It's
yeah
Strontian. Why do I know that?
yeah, but
I'm gonna remember that till I die.
but it's like everybody, they're all sub guardians, right? That are training.
Right.
There's like all these smashers, there's all these fangs, there's all these oracles. Like everybody has like a different thing that they are, except him. He's the only one that's another gladiator.
Well, and that's been a common thing because the general idea of the Shi'ar Empire is that they are, they're space Romans. That's what they are. But their idea is, yes, once we conquer you, you join the Imperium, and we all become stronger together.
Mm-hmm.
Our union makes us all one stronger species. We are going to force that on you. You are going to join us or die, but once you join us, you're on our team. And there are only 3 Strontians left in the universe. It is Gladiator, it is Kid Gladiator, and then it's this one other lady who was in War of the Realm, I think.
Yes, Zenith, the Strontian.
Yeah, she's in Kingbreaker. Actually, I like Zenith is in some good comics.
Sure.
She is. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I guess some of us. I mean, I'll say I haven't read Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning's.
I just haven't read them, so I don't
Nova.
know.
Oh, you should read War of the King. Like you should read, if you haven't done like the 2000s like cosmic stuff from
Abnett and Lanning.
Annihilation.
Yeah, it's all on my shelf.
You should sit down and read it. You would enjoy it. It is fun, scrappy comics. Anyway, they're the only ones.
Yeah.
So he feels left out. I like the Imperial Guard. I also think that the Imperial Guard is about 80% of a great idea and does get less and less interesting the more you try and layer onto it. That's not just we're a ripoff of the Legion of Superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
Like the more lore we get about the Imperial Guard, the less I care. But I think it works for this.
Oh, it's a lot of fun in that it's basically all just a huge setup for 2 things. One, to really showcase how, despite the fact that Kid Gladiator was an absolute jerk at the Jean Grey school, he misses it. He misses his friends. He is, in essence, for all his tough guy antics, he's still a kid. And then the other thing that he loves to do is punch. And what does he get to do in this issue but have page after page of really fun space adventures drawn by Nick Bradshaw in a really loving way? He gets to hang out with like the Avengers. He gets to like stare at the Hulk and make Hulk uncomfortable. And it's when people talk about Jason Aaron, like having a good sense of humor with this book, this is one that I would point to and say, yes, this is exactly what I loved about this book, was when he hit these notes.
Jason Aaron's Wolverine and the X-Men and Jason Aaron's Marvel work in general walks the very fine line between dumb complimentary and dumb derogatory. And I'm never sure which side he's going to fall on at any given time. I think that this one ends up more fun than not. And I like that. It's a little one note. I think my problem with Kid Gladiator, just within Wolverine and the X-Men as a whole, is that he is almost the exact same character as Quentin Quire in terms of his role in the story of being the jerk who has to learn to be friends with everybody and thinks he's the best and has a mohawk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like there's a reason why they wrote him out pretty early in the run, because they realized, we like this character, but it's not clicking for everything.
Yeah,
but
I think that's true.
I'm never mad when Kubark shows up again.
No, he's fun. He's a lot of fun, and the dynamic with him and Warbird is really fun. So, if people have not read this, it's just, I don't know. This does remind me of just like kind of a good old fashioned Marvel comic in a lot of ways, in that, if you look at the Infinity event as a whole, it's very serious. It's like, oh, there's grim stakes and it's dark. But this is light on its feet. It's having a good time, and it's just a lot of sight gags over and over again. And Bradshaw, I think, does a great job with it.
I think Bradshaw's art is really the highlight of this.
Mhm.
Should we rank it? There's just not a lot here to talk about. Is the only problem. Like it is just exactly what it says on the cover.
It's hard because it is exactly what you would expect, and it's fun, but there's not a lot of content to it. So down at 330, we have the Hellfire Saga, which is kind of Jason Aaron wrapping up a lot of the content of, the first chunk of that book. I think I like this more than that.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Like it's a good time. Is it better or worse than the first two issues of Christina Strain's Generation X though? I don't know. It's not better than Wild Ways at 328.
Yeah, that's true. It's better. It's better than Factor X, I think.
Okay, so this will be our new 329.
This can be 329. That's fine.
Yeah.
Can do this is 329.
If you read Wolverine and the X-Men and you never read that annual, highly
Go read
recommend
the
you
annual.
go
It's
read
a good
it.
annual.
Go check it out. All right.
It's a fun little annual. Hey, do you know what else is extant? I guess I don't know. This was my mistake, Adam. I messed up, and I'm sorry.
What do you mean you messed up? What are you talking about?
I made Adam accidentally start reading the crossover event Maximum Security because I looked on the wiki and it was like, oh yeah, the first issue, it's got Cadre K and Professor X and Lalandra of the Shi'ar. Like, this has got to be a big, like, X-Men has got to factor big into this. We'll just go into it. I know there were a bunch of tie-ins to Maximum Security. It's a space thing. I'm sure the X-Men are involved. Probably more Shi'ar stuff, but we can get over it. Hey, turns out, Maximum Security is mostly about John Walker, the U.S. agent.
US agent. Yeah.
Who I like. And I had to fight with Adam about how he's an interesting character, actually.
Maybe he is, but he's not so interesting in Maximum Security 1, 2, and 3. So
Fair.
what we're going to cover next is Maximum Security Dangerous Planet, which I would argue is an X-Men comic, but not Maximum Security 1, 2, and 3. And we're also going to talk about Uncanny X-Men 387, which is the Maximum Security tie-in issue.
So, Dangerous Planet, that's Kurt Busiek and Jerry Ordway.
It is, and a whole lot of little aliens talking about whether humans suck.
Listen, objectively, from their standpoint, I can see that in a very short amount of time that they have interacted with Earth. Earth has caused nothing but problems.
It's true. They just like refuse to go down in a fight. They keep the examples they give are great of them messing around with everything happening, like the Kree Skrull War or like saving Galactus's life. Like people have legitimate beef.
It's not even Earth as a general concept. It's like 50 people on Earth.
Yeah, it's the superheroes.
They're the only people they interact with, and they're constantly giving the rest of the entire known galaxy problems.
Yeah.
So they are being a little racist towards all humanity, but it's becoming increasingly difficult to refute their points. Unfortunately, Professor Xavier is here to help.
Well, Professor Xavier is specifically leading Cadre K, which, can you remind listeners who Cadre K is, Zach?
No, I think about Cadre K all the time.
I know
they're the mutant Skrulls that Xavier was training for a little bit at the end of Alan Davis's thing. It's Alan Davis wanting to draw a bunch of weird little freaks because, look, cats are going to meow, dogs are going to bark.
Alan Davis
is going to draw weird little freaks. Yeah. He just is.
Yes.
You can't tell a tiger to change his stripes. That's not how tigers work.
Yes. So
unfortunately, they are nothing characters. They're just more Alan Davis weird little freaks, except for because they're Skrulls, they all have to look like kind of the same weird little freak. They don't have the visual distinctiveness that you want, even though he does try to give them different body types and different looks. They all just kind of look like scrolls.
Yeah. There's one psychic scroll that's like a little girl. They're like kids. They're kid scrolls. And
They're young.
There's an idea there that's kind of fun. But anyway, so while all of the aliens are deciding whether humans suck or not, Ego, the living planet, starts going around blowing up planets, thinking that they are also going to talk back to him and be ego planets, which Ego, that's a very stupid idea. Like, of course they're not going to talk to you. They're inanimate, but I don't know.
Yeah, it rules.
Yeah.
I love Ego.
It's pretty
Freaking love Ego's the best. I'm sorry. Ego's so good. Ego's a big planet with a mustache. He's great.
It really does make me mad that, like, I know Guardians of the Galaxy 2 does have some like very good stuff in it. Like, I don't want to discount that, but at the same time, it didn't have the courage to just smack Kurt Russell's face onto a planet and have it go around like blowing up other planets. That would have been more fun.
I have been a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 hater since I saw it.
Okay.
I didn't like it. I thought I'm sure this isn't going to reveal too much about me, but I got a lot of complex feelings about movies about dads.
Okay.
I got a lot of complex feelings, and if they don't hit me the right way, I will be mad at that movie forever. It's why I like Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't like Jack Frost. Think about that as you will, but like, I had a weird experience going to the movie rental place in the 90s where every other movie was about a dad.
I think that's completely understandable, Zach. Now, Xavier is leading his scrolls to try and stop Ego, and somehow this still results in we have an evil species here known as the Rule, Ruul, who kind of sabotage this mission and really make it so that the chamber has no, like the Intergalactic Council has no choice but to find humanity guilty and decide that this is why the series is called Maximum Security. Earth is going to become a prison for all of the like evildoers in space.
Yeah, they're gonna put everybody on Earth. They aren't going to tell Earth.
No,
for a little bit.
No, Earth has to figure this out for themselves.
It's a great idea for a crossover. I actually love the concept. Execution wise,
Well, then, let's take this one by itself for a second. Did you like this issue, Zach?
It's fine. It's fine. It's a little too much explain the entire history of the Marvel Universe to me.
Very Kurt Busiek, like Silver Agey stuff, right?
I'll say this about Kurt Busiek. When he's good, he's so good. Astro City, Bud, it elevates things. Marvel's so good. And Kurt Busiek's really into telling me about the Marvel Universe. I don't care. It's just like, Kurt, I also know these things. And some of these things I don't, but there's stuff I don't care about. So, like,
I'm right there with you.
I don't want to read that comic.
Right there with you. I didn't have a terrible time with this. I did flip through 1, 2, 3. I didn't think it was very good. But let's transition.
Hey, what is John Walker wearing in those? Because that's not his normal clothes.
No, he basically looks like Motorcycle Judge Dredd, and it's not a good look. He looks terrible.
He looks like Gatchaman.
A little bit. It does not work. So let's transition over into the crossover issue, which is Uncanny X-Men 387, written by Chris Claremont, penciled by Salvador LaRocca, but very importantly, inked by Tim Townsend, because this LaRocca looks good. Like, him and Townsend, I'm like, let's partner these guys up a little more often. This is good.
Unfortunately, in less than a year, Salvador LaRocca will decide, I don't need an inker, period.
Yeah, just all pencils. Anyway, we do see Xavier and Cadre K again pleading with Lilandra to try and stop the maximum security crossover from happening. Somehow they make out, even though they're like one of them is a hologram. I didn't understand that. That was weird.
Look, man, hard light. It's hard light, man.
It sure was. Meanwhile, back on Earth, our X-Men have decided to take up at an old hospital in New Orleans. Is that where they are?
Sure.
That I guess also belongs to no. Two Wakandans stop by to just pick Storm up.
Hey, funniest thing about this. Well, this is based on, or this is all, they're there because of something that happened in the last issue. I don't remember that issue. It doesn't matter. Funniest thing that Chris Claremont's done, one of the funniest jokes, is when it goes to the page, the Wakandan page, he gives it its own separate title page, exactly the same way that Priest would do during his Marvel Knights Black Panther run, which would be like a year plus in at this point.
Oh.
So Claremont had read that. It was like, I'm using Black Panther stuff in here. Everett K. Ross is going to be here. I am going to homage or like play off of the form that Priest is using for this.
Okay.
Into this book. That's so freaking funny and clever to me that when I saw it, I was like, wait a minute, what's it? Oh my gosh, Chris, are you actually doing this?
I'm gonna just be straight up. I thought this issue was a lot of fun, and I think Claremont is killing it here, because while the X-Men are basically recovering, like Rogue has been injured, Cable has been injured, everybody's for like a lot of the characters are in hospital gowns. They get attacked by a group of mandroids who are really just a distraction for a character that I remember us talking about at some point in the history of this show, but I don't think we've never talked about this issue because we've never ranked it. And that is Starhammer.
There's only 2 other appearances. Oh no, Starhammer. He was in the Eric Larson, Jeff Matsuda.
Wolverine. That's why.
That's where he would have been from. Also, he's from Avengers number 4.
Apparently, I don't know.
Like Captain America gets out of the ice Avengers number 4. I've not read that comic.
No. Anyway, who is Starhammer?
Starhammer is the last of the Dabari.
The last of the Dabari, the asparagus people. That's right. So we get this like great opening shot of the, Dark Phoenix blowing up their sun. And we end with with Jean and Cable, who are like psychically talking to each other as Starhammer like unveils his little shield to reveal he is an asparagus guy. He's here to get his revenge against Jean.
Now, listen, we know that wasn't Jean, but even that's been a little confusing over the years.
Well, she tries to give the Magneto baby defense, which I thought was interesting. Like, she's basically like, hey, I died for that already, so you can't kill me.
Also, that wasn't me. That was... So you have to understand, I was living in a cocoon in the ocean, and then a perfect clone of me did all of that. And as she's saying it, I think she's starting to realize that, well, maybe explaining the situation's not helping, because it's not a good situation. And from his perspective, none of that really matters.
No, he does not care.
Everyone he knows and loves is dead.
No. And what's fun is that he does kill her. At least he thinks he's killed her. And then it pulls back to reveal that Jean is just making him think that he killed her. And the
this is the most Silver Age Professor Xavier type move that anyone could ever pull. She repents for the Dark Phoenix saga by saying, I didn't do any of that, but I'm going to brainwash you into thinking you got your revenge and then just live my life. Yeah. We good?
Yeah.
We good.
It's really fun.
Instead of taking any ownership for anything, which Jean Grey people are going to fight me, and they can't because they can't get to me. They can't find me. I am safe in my protective bubble. You can't explain X-Men to me, Jean Grey people. I know I'm doing this as a joke because it makes me laugh of how self-righteous Jean is about the very real harm that her simulacrum that had all of her emotions and was written as her ate a planet because she was having a bad day. Like Jean's, it is beautiful how Jean refuses to acknowledge the pain that those actions caused others, even if she was not the immediate source of that pain.
Yeah. Unrepentant.
Love that. That's why Jean's great, actually.
Sure. So we do end this with, promise to get involved with the maximum security crossover or the main book and to start the search for Cyclops because Jean is like, well, maybe all these people seeing ghosts of Cyclops have a point. So that's where we're headed here in the
Jean
book.
does sit here and say, well, no, Cyclops is probably not dead. Like, listen.
You guys thought I was dead. I'm not dead.
This guy now thinks I'm dead. A lot of people thought people have dead for years and years. We haven't been dead though.
Yeah.
It turns out great instincts, Gene, 100% right.
Way to go. And I just want to, before we wrap up talking about this story, I just want to just reassert the fact that by having Tim Townsend ink La Roca, it's such a change because you get that Townsend quality to the lines that we like really love when he inks Chris Pachalo. It especially like I've never seen a Mandroid look that good, like that was pretty good Mandroid,
As far as Mandroids go, that's a pretty solid Mandroid.
Yeah. Anyway,
we want to rank this bad boy.
I do.
It's not as good. It's not as good as the Wolverine and the X-Men annual, though.
No, it is not. And I also think that the Uncanny 387 is better than the Dangerous Planet start to the event, but it's pulling it up here. So where did we put the Wolverine in the?
That's in the 300 somethings.
Yeah, this isn't that good. But it's also not terrible. Like I enjoyed reading this.
How do you feel about it compared to 2013's X-Men Gold? This is not the Googs one. It's at 474. This is like the celebration of 50 years of X-Men.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't know. I think this is probably lower because like at 478 we have Schism. I don't know.
What's Schism about, Adam? I've plumb forgot.
I think other people might have too. Child soldiers? Who's against child soldiers? I don't know. Anyway.
Not Cyclops, that's for sure.
We're just having fun.
We're just doing a goof here. We just love comics so much.
Yep.
And listen, I just want to say this because everyone's asking for my hot take.
Yeah.
If you're looking for internal consistency in X-Men comics, you're looking in the wrong place.
It's a very good point.
All you can ask for is that you enjoyed the ride.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't overthink it. And I'm one of you. I'm deeply cursed with overthinking it. We're just like vibe. Yeah, just vibe out.
Just vibe.
This is vibe out times, y'all. All the world's got too much bad vibes. Just vibe.
Here's what I'll say.
What will you say?
This is not as good as at 451, the first appearance of Maggot and the trial of Gambit.
Agreed. It's not as good as 459 with Zhao and his X-Men from X-Men 2099.
No, and I don't think we could put it ahead of World War IV.
We cannot put it ahead of another time that Ben Percy did an Annihilation.
Yeah. But I think we're on par with like at 470, we have the Bloody Bess arc of Chris Claremont's Nightcrawler.
With the Shadow King?
Yeah. Like this is
I would put it below that.
Yep.
But I would put it above City of the Dead from X-Men 2099.
Great. I would also put it above Spider-Man 2099 Exodus number 5 with the X-Men 2099 cameo.
So this should be the new 471.
Fantastic. Good showing.
I wasn't expecting that. That's
Listen, that was fun. Like I like that Uncanny X-Men issue was fun. They did a good job there. Good job, Chris.
That is fun. Chris Claremont, every once in a while, you surprise me, buddy.
Yeah, man.
You surprise
It only
me,
takes
buddy.
a Tim Townsend for me to like Salvador LaRocca art. I mean, it's amazing.
Hey,
Easy fix.
It takes all kinds. And it takes all kinds to make this show, just like all kinds of Owen O'Connell, the beautiful Owen O'Connell. Owen is one of our patron supporters, and if you want to be like Owen, you can go over to patreon.com/Battle of the Atom Hearts Pocketbooks. $5. Someone said that they were bullied into supporting the podcast, and look, bullying works. That's all I'm saying.
We hope that nobody was like actually bullied, but if they were pushed in our direction, and
Listen, me and Anna tried to bully Adam last night, and it didn't work.
That's true. That was pretty funny. Folks, you can always follow the show via social media. Adam Rec on Instagram and Blue Sky. And Zach, I believe we have some exciting stuff happening very soon on this program.
Well, we're on the road to 1,000.
We sure are.
We're on the road to ranking our 1,000th story. But one thing that I think is beautiful about this podcast is that we've never done it alone.
No.
We've had people helping us out to walk this road with us so often. And next week's no exception, because much like when the encumbrance and the weight of the One Ring was too much for Frodo to continue walking up the path to Mount Doom, and Samwise Gamgee needed to carry him those final steps. We need someone to carry us up to the threshold of 1,000. So Connor Goldsmith is going to be joining us for a really fun episode about not Cerebro, that's his podcast. About Polaris. That's a different character. She's green. She has magnet power. She likes coffee. We like her. And we're going to talk about some exciting stuff on the road to 1,000.
Nice.
So make sure you tune in, folks. But until then, this has been Battle of the Atom, and we hope you survived the experience.
Get it!